heck? Welcome back to my second video. The first one wasn't the greatest because it cut out during the live video, and I actually just recorded the rest of it and uploaded it. So I decided instead of doing that, I'm going to start just recording videos and using YouTube as my main prime source. Today I will be talking about the Flight Simulator X PC, which is actually right here next to me. Here we can kind of see, oops, wrong one. You can actually see it right here. It's complete. There's only one little thing I have to do left to it, is install the cable combs for the 24-pin, 8-pin EPS, and the power supply PCIe cables. So once I get those on there, you'll really kind of see that. But anyways, back to some news today. What we're looking at is a couple things. First thing is Intel is releasing the 10850K. I think that's how you say it, the 10850K. Anyways, this is a predecessor to the 10900K i9 processor. Now, the 10850K is also an i9, which you would think, since not being in the 900, 10900 be like a 10950, but it's like 50 under the 10900. But they still consider it as an i9 over the i7, which that's alright, because, and I get it, and I understand that, because what qualifies it to be an i9 is that it has 10 cores and 20 threads, which is more than most people could probably use, and they really want to get up there with competing to AMD, you know, even the Threadripper at this point. Although you have to consider that Threadrippers are way more expensive, and that's me saying with AMD. But with Intel, you know, they've always been kind of more the pricier ones, but for the past couple years, you know, they've really come down in prices because AMD is very competitive with them. So when I build AMD builds, it's like, well, it's not so much on a budget anymore, which this build I just did has an a Ryzen 9 3900 XT. So that is a pretty pricey processor, pretty much up there with the i9s in the first place. Now, it's reported to be a 3.6 base and 5.2 boost on the 10850K. That's coming out pretty much today. I don't know if it'll be like ready to order on Newegg or Amazon or whatever for maybe a couple days, few days, weeks, who knows. But compared to that, to the 10900K with a 3.7 and then a 5.3 boost gigahertz, of course, they're not so much different. I mean, really though, 5.2, 5.3, if you really want to get that overclock, you really think you're not going to get it on liquid? I mean, who's going to get that processor and put an air cooler on it? Who does that? And if they do that, I get it. You're just trying to seriously budget. I just don't trust big, hefty air coolers because it feels like it pulls down on the motherboards and, like, rips them. I've just seen that happen. It's not common, but it's possible. And it has happened. It's just not something I usually do, is use air coolers on high-end processors. Anyways, back to the 10850K versus the 10900K. One thing to be duly noted is they say it is going to be $50 cheaper, which is being priced at $450, and the i9 10900K being priced at $500. Now, they've recently come back more in stock, although when I go to Micro Center, I do notice personally that they are $599 now. So that actually is more than $50. That is $150 savings, if that's true, that the 10850K will be in at $450. So that'd be $449.99 versus $599.99. So talking about that, might be into the next build I use for the i9. I mean, saving $150 could literally buy the memory and the cable sleeving for a very nice build. That's a huge savings, saying you have an i9 now. So that helps with budgets and builds that I do for many people. the fastest GPU ever recorded on the RTX3080 series cards. Uh, these are all rumors. Until we actually get one of those cards in my hands or some other YouTuber's hands that's reputable and actually test this on several different benchmarks, then we have no real answer. 3080 versus 2080 Ti. So the 3080 is not a Ti that they're comparing, but they also only say better. What do they mean by better is the question. You mean better in gaming performance with, say, PUBG? Or do they want it to be better as in overclocks better, looks better, what? And that was the big conversation on the other videos. But that is, once again, just skeptics, which would be me at this point, saying they have no real information. And whoever has this information must work directly for them to know and sit there and test and know what to test specifically to get those results. So that pretty much narrows it down to say it's just a guess. But I mean, if you're really releasing the 30 series over the 20 series RTX cards, I would say that they're going to be quite a bit better, in my opinion, just based on off all the actual facts we've read through forums and other main reputable companies. So that being said, I would probably guess there'd be about a 15% increase, possibly even up to 30%. And that is just my guess with no real facts or knowledge of actually playing with this card. So that also, I forgot to mention that the 2080 Supers are not compared either. So it's only the 2080 Ti's. So in that scenario, it's what, 8% difference between the Super and the Ti's, depending on the card. So that's just typical. And when I say 8%, that means in most applications of gaming, test results between Signbench and several others. So you can actually overall say it's 8%. It's not just 8% all the way around, because it might differ in some specific tasks. For example, video rendering. So that is what I have to say on the new RTX 3000 series cards. That's what I had to say on the new i9, 10850K. And then as for this PC, I'm going to go ahead and just give you, I know you've been looking at this the whole time on the side of the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and swap this over just to give it a quick show. So this is the PC that I built. I have finally completed it. Like I said before, the only thing I need to do now is add some cable combs to the cables. Put those cable combs on. It makes it a nice brush through. So that's the only thing I have to do at this point. The other thing, if I had to say something, was those top fans. As you can see, kind of, it looks a little bit brighter in here. But that's because the fans up top, they're both Corsair fans. They have the same exact connector for the RGB module in the back, and they just stay white.